Welcome to the e-learning course for Asprova hands-on training. 2B, Graphical User Interface, Realizing Visual Management. Starting Asprova. Click on the Start button to display the Windows Start menu. Select Programs, Asprova APS, Asprova from the menu to start Asprova. Open the project file. Select File, Open from the main menu and select as2b0.ar4 from the folder Basic 2A22C to open the Asprova project file for this training section. Let's practice operations on the resource Gantt chart. First of all, let's expand the resource Gantt chart. Next, let's make the three windows at the bottom of the screen a little smaller. In Asprova, you can change row heights and column widths freely using the mouse. Also, if you want to see the whole schedule, you can click on the minus magnifying glass icon on the toolbar. Row heights and column widths of the Gantt chart will automatically be adjusted to show the whole area. Currently, all the days of the week and time periods are displayed in the same width. If there are days of the week on which resources are not usually available, you can hide those days or display them in a narrower width than the normal size. Here, we will hide Sundays and show Saturdays at 50%. First of all, let's open the display settings of the resource Gantt chart. There are four ways of opening the display settings. Firstly, select the chart and then select View Display Settings from the menu. Two, click on the chart and then click on the Display Settings button on the toolbar. 3. Execute Display Settings from the corner part pop-up menu. Finally, double-click on the main body of the chart. After you have displayed the display settings, find the property Day of the Week Zoom Factor in the Time Access tab. Click on the plus sign to drill down. Set Sunday to 0 and Saturday to 0.5. Click the OK button. Now, if you take a look at the resource Gantt chart, you can see that Sunday is no longer being displayed and Saturday is being displayed at half the width of the other days. Similarly, you can also specify to display only available time periods during a day. Since working time periods are currently set to 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, for all of the resources, specify the property Time of Day Zoom Factor in the Time Access tab of the display settings as 8 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You can see that we've been able to reduce the amount of space required to display all of the data. Let's click on the Display Whole Area icon to expand the chart. If you look at the operations on the resource Gantt chart, you can see that 3 pieces of information are being displayed on each operation. You can specify what text is displayed. Do this by specifying the Use Instruction Bar text expression. Once again, open up the display settings. Then choose the Resource Gantt tab. You can see that there are 4 properties with the name ending with text expression. These are the properties used for customizing the text that appears on the chart or when placing the mouse cursor on one of the bars on the Gantt chart. Here, we will change the value of the property Use Instruction Bar Text Expression. Click on the button in the Value field. Doing so displays the Expression Edit dialog for the Use Instruction Bar Text Expression. The string shown is set by default, but you can create your own expressions. Let's practice how we can set an expression. First of all, let's clear the current expression. If you want to display a property, write the internal name of the property. If you forget the internal name of the property, write me dot. It will give you a list of usable properties. You can just double-click on the property you want to use from the list. If you want to display a fixed string, enclose the string with single quotation marks. If you want to insert a new line, write \n. If you want to display multiple elements, connect them with plus signs. If you want to display another property through an object type property, connect the properties with a period, dot. For example, if you want to display a property of an operation, enter me.operation followed by a property name such as order. You may also display an expression by alias display name. If you check Use Aliases Display Names in the Expression Edit dialog, the expression will be displayed by alias display name. This will make the contents of the expression easier to understand. You may also edit the expression by alias display name as well. Let's cancel this expression and return to the original expression. If we interpret the original expression set by default using the above tips, we can see that the expression means as follows: order of the operation followed by a new line, main output item of the operation followed by a new line, and then finally the production quantity of the operation. Let's change this expression. Now we will specify to display last dispatching order of operations. This information is useful for checking the sequence in which operations were assigned the last time. First, clear the current expression. Next, select last dispatching order from the list of standard registered expressions. After you have set the expression, click OK to leave. You can see that the bar strings on the resource Gantt chart have changed to numbers such as 1, 2, 3. Let's register the settings we have made so far as a style under the name of dispatching order. Let's display the Style tabs and return to the standard style. Let's practice some more operations on the resource Gantt chart. Let's look at some of the operations you can perform from the pop-up menu when a cell is selected. Select cells of resource PR2 from October 1st to October 5th. To select cells, click on a cell and drag to the target cell with the left mouse button while holding down the Shift key. If you select cells while holding down the Control and Shift keys, you can select cells in multiple areas. The selected cells will be displayed as highlighted. Next, right-click on the background part of the selected cells to display the pop-up menu. Select Drill Down from the pop-up menu. Operations in the selected period will be displayed in separate rows. This drill down feature is useful when it is hard to read text because operations are piled or bars are narrow. In the same way as the drill down feature, select Zoom to selected cells from the pop-up menu. The area you selected will be enlarged to the size of the window. Click the Undo button to return to the previous style. In the body part pop-up menu of the resource Gantt chart, all of the shifts registered in the shift table are listed at the bottom of the menu. If you're using a module type such as Asprova APS or Asprova MS that enables assignment, you may select one of the shifts from the pop-up menu and change the shift of the selected cells. Now, let's practice operations on the order Gantt chart. Let's adjust the size of the columns so we can see more of the order bars. As with the resource Gantt chart, you can customize the text to be displayed on the order Gantt chart. For example, order codes are currently displayed to the right of order bars. Let's specify to display due dates as well. Bring up the Display Settings dialog. Then select the Order Operation Gantt tab. Widen the property so we can see the full name. Open the Expression Edit dialog from the property Order Bar Right Text Expression. Currently, the expression is set to me. Let's change it so that it displays the LET as well. Then press the OK button, and the OK button again. You can see that each of the bars for the orders now displays the order code and the LET due date. If you drill down orders on the order Gantt chart, operations and tasks will be displayed as well as orders. You can customize what to display for each of them. The way to set expressions is similar to the way you specify text expressions for the resource Gantt chart. Let's sort the order Gantt chart in descending order of lateness so that we can easily see which orders are late. Select Table Sort from the main menu to display the Sort Expression dialog. In the first row, select Lateness as property. Let's use the magnifying glass to display the whole screen. You can see that the chart has been sorted in the sequence starting from the latest orders. Now, let's filter the orders that are late. Select Table Filter from the main menu to display the filter method. On the first row, specify the filter conditions as shown. Set property to lateness, condition to greater than, and value to 0. You can see that only the late orders have been filtered. Let's register the settings we have made so far as a style Let's practice operations on the inventory graph. In the inventory graph, you can check changes in the inventory quantity of each item graphically on a time series. As with the resource Gantt chart, you can use the drill down feature to display operations in the cells you selected in the inventory graph. For example, the inventory quantity of item A10 once increases to 100 and then drops to 0 between October 1st and October 2nd. To find out specifically which operations produce and consume the item, select the two cells and execute drill down operations from the pop-up menu. Related operations will be displayed in separate rows. You can see that operation 110 produces 100 of the item and operation 120 uses that quantity. You can specify how item quantities change using the property Inventory Fluctuation Method in the item table. Use the slider on the inventory graph to reveal the item table underneath. Scroll to the right to find the Inventory Fluctuation Method column. Currently, the inventory fluctuation method has been set to instantaneous. This means that the quantities will increase and decrease instantaneously. If you select linear, the quantities will increase and decrease linearly. Let's change the inventory fluctuation method for A10 from instantaneous to linear. When the inventory fluctuation method was set to instantaneous, produced quantity was counted as inventory only after operation 110 ends, and consumed quantity was subtracted at once at the time when operation 120 starts. If you change the inventory fluctuation method to linear, quantities of the item are displayed in a way that the item is produced gradually from the start to the end of operation 110 and consumed gradually from the start to the end of operation 120. If you place the mouse cursor on the graph, the required quantity of raw materials or the quantity of finished product at that point of time currently pointed to by the mouse will be displayed in a data tip. In the time charts we have looked at so far, each column was displayed as a day. However, you can change the unit term to display columns from the top part pop-up menu. Choose the unit term to change the unit term to 1 week. You can specify to calculate quantities to be displayed in the inventory graph as start value, end value, min value, max value, average value, or difference. Here we will set the property Inventory Graph Summary method in the Inventory Graph tab of the display settings to average value to display average values for each week. Bring up the display settings dialog. Change the tab Inventory Graph. Select the Inventory Graph Summary method. Change the value to average value. Let's register the settings we have made so far as a new style under the name of average value. When the inventory graph has the summary method specified, you may export its data to a text file by selecting Chart Inventory Graph from the main menu and then executing either one of the following from the submenu: Inventory Graph Export Spreadsheet Format or Inventory Graph Export RDB Format. Next, let's practice operations on the load graph. In the load graph, you can check the load on each resource on a time series. First, let's display all of the operations using the minus magnifying glass icon on the toolbar to check the overall schedule. Then, change the unit term to 1 week from the top part pop-up menu. When you display summary values in the inventory graph or the load graph, you can sort the graph by the contents of the summary values. For example, we can sort the resources in descending order of the load ratio from September 29th to October 5th to find out the resource with the heaviest load of that week. First, select the column from September 29th to October 5th. To select the column, click on the header of the column while holding down the Shift key. Next, right-click on the column you selected and execute Sort Load. Since CT1 is a resource with the heaviest load, it stays at the top of the chart as before. However, since the load of PR2 is heavier than that of PR1, PR2 is now displayed in the second place. If you sort again for the same period, the resources will be sorted in ascending order of the load. You can select multiple columns and perform sorting. To select multiple columns, click on the header of one of the columns and drag the mouse to the target column while holding down the Shift key. To select the whole display period, click on the upper left corner of the chart. When the load graph has the summary method specified, you may export its data to a text file by selecting Chart Load Graph from the main menu and then executing either one of the following submenus: Load Graph Export Spreadsheet Format or Load Graph Export RDB Format. Load Graph Export Spreadsheet Format outputs the items and quantities in a matrix format. Load Graph Export RDB Format outputs the items and quantities in record format. This is the end of Asprova hands-on training 2B. Thank you for watching.